Hello, hello. Welcome back to the Sleuth Intuition channel. Today we will be discussing the Crystal Rogers case. A lot going on. Looks like they will be wrapping this case up pretty soon. Good to see everybody. CJK, Metal Mama, Jill, Renee, Turn the Diamonds, V, Doris. Hather's Mirror, Jerry, good to see you. Sparky, what's going on, everybody? Cindy, Patricia, Susan, Donna, Leslie, Beth, Boston Christian, what's going on? Sensei Katie. Alrighty. Are you guys familiar with this case? Welcome in, Bird Blue. All right. So I think this is going to be the plan. A couple videos I pulled out. I think the majority of today's stream we're going to watch the interviews between investigators in Brooks Hewick or Hauk and Nick Hauk. Then we're going to talk about Steve Lawson and his son Joey Lawson. Right now, they're like the four horsemen of this case. So as you see here, from right to left, you have Nick, or excuse me, you have Brooks. You have Steve Lawson, his son Joey. And then you have Brooks, his brother Nick. I think we're going to start at the beginning. What's up, Katie? Jessica, good to see you. Hather's Mirror says, I know very little about this case. All right, now this case here is from Bardstown, Kentucky. I believe she was murdered. I know she wasn't reported until the 5th, but I believe she was murdered, or they assume she was killed on July 3rd of 2015. And we're going to get into all the details of this case here in a minute. I think we'll start here. This is a real quick overview.
And 35-year-old Crystal Rogers vanished July 3rd from the home she shared with Brooks Hauk. 2 days later, her car was found abandoned along the Bluegrass Parkway. Crystal's keys, her cell phone, and purse were all inside the car. Volunteers spent countless hours over the next several weeks scouring nearly every inch of Nelson County, but didn't find any clues related to where Crystal may be. Rogers' family offered a $70,000 reward for information leading to Crystal's whereabouts. The story made national headlines and was featured on Good Morning America and also on Nancy Grace.
Critical piece of evidence in the case.
All right, now here's the breaking news. There's been a series of breaking news here recently. First, it started with the arrest of Joey Lawson, which is the creepy guy that you see here with the weird mustache and goatee there. The real dark hair. So he was arrested on separate charges unrelated to this and led to his discovering his involvement with Crystal's case. But the breaking news has everything to do with Joey Lawson, who is the guy you see pretty much there in the middle with the gray hair and beard. That's going to be Joey's father. His name is Steve Lawson. Now, apparently, he's been cooperating with law enforcement, but recently they denied him a deal, and looks like they believe he's been involved the entire time and was just, trying to get immunity, telling a half truth, I guess.
Critical piece of evidence in the case of Crystal Rogers and her disappearance. Her car, it was abandoned on the side of the Bluegrass Parkway with her keys, phone, and purse still inside. Tonight, for the first time, we are hearing details on how it could have ended up there. It is our top story here tonight at 6. Hello,
What's up,
everybody,
Frank?
and thanks for joining us. I'm Doug Proffitt. That car, a point of key speculation for years. And tonight, WHAS 11 Shay McAllister is here with the new answers on what you learned today from an attorney. Shay?
That's right, Doug. All of this new information coming from attorney Theodore Lavitt, who represents the newly arrested man, Steve Lawson. The attorney says his client had nothing to do with the death of Crystal Rogers, but was providing police with critical information in exchange for immunity. Immunity that came to an end with last week's indictment.
I did not hurt Crystal and was not involved in hurting
That's
Crystal.
his attorney.
I didn't plan to hurt Crystal. I didn't conspire to hurt Crystal. Those are his statements.
Attorney Theodore Lavitt says his client, Steve Lawson, wasn't involved in the death of Crystal Rogers.
He was an employee,
Yeah, Nick's in
part-time
jail.
employee of
Oh,
Houck.
no. Sorry,
He
no.
had
Nick is not.
an association with
Sorry,
Houck.
Whiskey. No.
Mr. Houck had conversations with him about Crystal. And that's the extent of my client's involvement.
Conversations like this one.
Hey, Steve.
From inside the Nelson County Sheriff's Office interrogation room just days after Crystal was first
Meth
reported
face.
missing.
Indeed.
I just want to tell you I'm sorry about everything that's going on in your life, brother, and I got you in my prayers. I said this is a very difficult and trying time, but I appreciate you saying that.
What do you make of that phone call?
It was a set-up phone call. One was supposed to call the other, and the ring came in, and they spoke.
The attorney says Steve wasn't involved in the murder, but that he does have valuable information. Information shared with police over more than a dozen meetings throughout the last year.
I don't
They
believe
chose
it.
to indict him rather than give him the immunity that he was promised.
Oh, so he had been in discussions with them
He has, and I have.
regarding some sort of deal
Immunity.
to say,
I wonder if Brooks has been cooperating with them. I wonder if he's finally like, okay, this is what happened.
what he knows.
What's known as transactional immunity.
Lavitt says Steve's information dates back to the weekend Crystal disappeared, when Crystal's maroon sedan, later towed away as evidence by the FBI, was abandoned on the Bluegrass Parkway with her keys, phone, and purse inside. The attorney says it was Joseph Lawson, Steve's son, who drove the car to the highway.
It was driven out there by Joey Lawson. He had a flat tire at that mile marker, and my client received a phone call, went out there and got him, brought him back.
The attorney says Steve doesn't know where the car was going or why his son was driving it, but he does have reason to believe police have built a case around solicitation. Do you think that Brooks Houck paid Joseph Lawson to help in the murder of Crystal Rogers?
Yeah.
I think the Commonwealth has been trying to establish that a payment was made. As to who that payment
I don't
was
know,
made
V. I
to,
think at some point
and
you
when
gotta
it was
just
made,
give it up, right?
I'm not privy to that information yet.
But the attorney thinks that information could soon be made public, pointing to next week's court date when Steve Lawson will go in front of a Nelson County judge for the first time. At Brooks Houck's arraignment, there was a lot of bombshells dropped. Do you think we'll hear something similar?
I do. And as we move on, the Commonwealth's ready to move on after all these 8.5 years, I would say that we're going to hear some things in court that we haven't heard before.
Now here, this is involving Tommy Ballard. This is Crystal's father. Um, Crystal's family believes that the same people that killed her are the people who killed her father, Tommy.
Answers. Tomorrow marks 6 years since Tommy Ballard, the father of missing Bardstown mother Crystal Rogers, was shot and killed.
Tonight we spoke with Sherry Ballard about the mystery still surrounding her husband's death.
I'll go by the graveyard.
Sherry Ballard has endured more pain than any person should have to.
But it's very hard for me to relive that day.
As the spotlight remains bright on the investigation into what happened to her daughter, Crystal Rogers, a mother of 5.
Yeah, Brooks is
she
pretty
also
well off.
warns her husband, whose death has produced far more questions than answers.
There's a murderer out there walking around, that murdered my husband.
Tommy Ballard was shot in the chest and killed November 19th, 2016. It happened right as he was about to go hunting on family property in Nelson County with his young grandson. While initially police called it a hunting accident, Ballard has said from the beginning it was no accident. He was murdered. The FBI now calls it a homicide.
I want people to know that he's still out there, and I'm still pushing for justice.
Ballard believes that when she gets answers about what happened to her daughter, she will also learn what happened to her husband, believing the two tragedies are linked. Her husband spent the last year of his life tirelessly searching for Crystal.
Nothing would have stopped him. So, he was going to bring our daughter home.
Last month, the FBI spent a week searching this 200-acre farm belonging to the family of Brooks
100%
Houck,
whiskey.
the only suspect ever named in Rogers' case, and her boyfriend at the time she disappeared. A few days ago, Ballard called agents for an update.
They're still waiting on lab results. That stuff takes, I don't understand why it takes so long, but gosh, they're still waiting on some from back when they searched the farm the time before.
Real quick, so Crystal and Brooks have a child together. They got a baby boy. They had a baby boy together. Imagine growing up knowing that your father conspired and helped kill your mother. Imagine what he's going to have to go through. It's rough.
But the waiting goes on, with Ballard marking another painful anniversary, muscling through each day for her loved ones still here.
I still have 2 kids. And they deserve a mother.
And finding comfort in imagining her husband and daughter reunited.
I look at that all the time, and I think he did find our daughter.
So while the FBI is leading the investigation into Crystal Rogers' disappearance, Kentucky State Police leads the investigation into Tommy Ballard's death. Anyone with information about either case should call 1-800-CALL-FBI.
Yeah, I think it's pretty safe to say Brooks had something to do with that. Tommy was getting too close. Just getting way too close.
One big question on everyone's mind: who is Joseph Lawson, the man now facing charges in connection to the disappearance of Crystal Rogers? Well, today we went into the courthouse to get new court documents spelling out exactly how Joseph Lawson may be connected to the night Crystal was murdered.
From a hospital bed, 32-year-old Joseph Lawson called into his court arraignment. A Nelson County judge on the other end of the video.
The formal reading of the indictment has been effected. The court's going to enter pleas of not guilty in both cases.
Lawson was indicted by a grand jury in June, charged with conspiracy to commit murder and tampering with physical evidence. Both charges.
Yeah, that's crazy that you said that, Bird Brain, because as soon as I was finished with that and I muted my mic, I was like, yeah, and your grandfather. You're right. He didn't just kill your mother, he killed your grandfather. That boy's going to have to grow up knowing that. You're right.
Filed in connection to an incident on 4th of July weekend, 2015. The same weekend, Crystal Rogers was reported missing, and just days before her keys phone, and purse were found inside her car on the side of the Bluegrass Parkway. A warrant was issued for his arrest in July. It was executed in August, and he appeared in court via video on Thursday.
Yeah, V. Marie says, and then they took the grandparents' rights away from Sherry, court ordered. Yeah, that was horrible. So now imagine the court handing over the rights to this child, and now the father being arrested for murder, knowing that you could have put this child in danger, which is what they did, if you think about it.
Your date of birth, January 24th of 1991?
Yes, sir.
The name may sound unfamiliar, but this actually isn't the first time we've heard the name Lawson come up in this investigation. Steve Lawson was mentioned in one of the very first police interviews between Detective John Snow and the main suspect in the case, Brooks Houck.
Okay, who is Steve Lawson? He's somebody works for me.
Houck explaining why he had a late-night phone call with Steve on the night Crystal disappeared, even calling Steve from inside the interrogation room.
The other night you called me really late.
Hey, Doris.
And I forgot what you asked me. Can you?
Steve is heard telling Houck he had called him because he had a question for Crystal, which Houck says he had to call and ask her and would call him back.
So that begs a question in my mind.
All right.
If she's in the truck next to you when he called, why would you need to call her?
We've since learned Steve Lawson has a son named Joseph Lawson. We're still working to confirm if his son is the same man who was arrested and is now expected back in court in October.
Joseph Lawson was arraigned in Nelson County Circuit Court on 2 different charges. In one, he's facing a $500,000 bond. In the other, it's $50,000. He is still in custody right now. In Nelson County, I'm Shay McAllister.
Yeah, Shay does good work on this case. Here's a short clip of Brooks, his interview here with investigators.
No. I'm up here. I know that you didn't know. I'm up here in this interview with the Detective Snow. I've been up here a good little while. I'm filling out this statement here and everything. Are you telling me that's what I need to do?
He's talking to his brother Nick right now. Nick's a cop, was a cop. I think he's since been fired.
I'm not. I know that. The way that I look at it is, I'm innocent. I ain't done nothing wrong. I know you told me innocent people have got jammed up, but if you're telling me to leave, I'll get up and leave. If you want me to. I know I'm going through a lot, but I'm trying to get this guy to help me.
That's horrible, V.
I don't think she's ran off with some other guy. I don't believe that. You can't make me think that. No. Yeah, so do I. I'll do exactly what you're telling me to do right now. You want me to get up and leave? Man, I don't think these people are trying vindictive just to skin me for no reason. Man, this is not their family. This is not.
What's up? Squeaky Will says lots of land around there to bury a body on. They might not ever find her if nobody talks. Brooks isn't ever going to talk, but one of those other two might, if they even know where she is. Yeah, I have a feeling that Brooks and Nick knew that they couldn't leave her on their land. Like they may have done something on their land, but I don't think that they placed her anywhere near their land. I think they knew that that would be, a place that they would thoroughly look for. With that being decided upon between the two, I think that's when Steve and Joey Lawson come in. We're going to use them. We'll put everything in his vehicle. They'll take it and they'll dump her body. We won't. You know, maybe they didn't participate in the actual physical act, but I think they may have maybe even been the ones to take her and place her body somewhere. Possibly. Or they could have done it all and been paid to do it. He had a lot of money.
All right, thank you. He thinks y'all are gonna fuck is what he thinks.
I don't know who he is.
Nick, my brother.
If you want to go, you're free.
No, I know that, but I'm not. He just said just to keep sitting up here to give it.
Hey, Daisy. Daisy says Nick got the boot. And Kentucky Church guy with a cool arrowhead there. I like that. Fired for this phone call, actually. Yeah, so this, thank you for pointing that out. Was actually fired for that, for interfering.
Statement, do an interview, whatever I got to do it. But he said, "Darn, just to keep just letting
You
them
can tell it was
beat you to
highly
death over
scripted.
this right here. Just ask what you got to ask and let you know."
And you tell me.
You see what I'm? You see what I mean? He knows more about this than I do. You see what?
And have I told you that I'm for you?
Yes, you have.
I said, what did I say? My job is to find Crystal, right?
That's right.
However that happens, my job is to find her. Whether I
Right.
find her hopefully alive and well and safe somewhere or not, my job is to find her. If I don't find her alive and well, my job is to prosecute the person that did something.
That's right.
If that turns out to be you, my job is to prosecute you.
Another good point, Squeaky Will. This phone call is all theatrics with a little help from his brother Nick. Yeah, highly scripted, planned. They planned this call out. According to recent information released just a couple days ago, Steve Lawson says that was 100% a planned call and scripted.
If that turns out to be someone else, my job is to prosecute them, to gather
Yes.
evidence for a lawyer, a prosecutor to prosecute them. I don't know whether that person will be you or not. Well, did I not tell you when you come in here and sit down today that right now you're the main person of interest?
Yes, that's right.
And I explained to you the reason that you're the main person of
Hey,
interest.
Sassy.
Right? You're the last person to see her alive, right? And I went through your timeline with you and explained to you that there's gaps in your timeline, right? Be it good, bad, or indifferent, you can't.
Sassy says the FBI took forensics and I thought they found some bones that matched her. They did the testing in Quantico. It's going to take somebody to come forward, I think. So hopefully one of these four, Brooke, Steve, Joey, or Nick, know where she is, and she can get a good resting finally. Maybe they'll go ahead and provide that information because it sounds like they do know, and Nick knows for sure. And we're going to go ahead and watch an interview here after this of Nick with investigators and an FBI polygraph tester. I'm sure there's a more fitting term, but that'll do.
You can't remember some things about Saturday, you can't remember some things about Sunday. That's not a judgment against you, that's just a fact. I am simply a fact finder. If you want to go, you may go at any time you wish to. I would never dream of stopping you, didn't tell you you had to stay. If you want to bring a lawyer in and answer questions with a lawyer, you're welcome to do that. I'd have been asking you
Wyoming
the very same
Charlie,
questions in front of your lawyer that I asked you.
he did fail a poly, but I don't think
Right?
that's why he was
I have
fired.
not given up hope of finding her alive. That being said, you know as well as I do, the longer this draws out, the less likely we.
Okay, Cindy Hudson. So right now they're interviewing Brooks Hauk, however you want to pronounce it. Brooks has recently been arrested for the murder of Crystal Rogers. That was his live-in girlfriend. And they had a child together. Now, it's obviously he's lying. He doesn't know how to tell the truth. You can just see it, that he's lying through his teeth. Well, before he was arrested, Joey Lawson. Here, let me see if I have an image. I think I do. Now, Joey Lawson is the tweaker looking guy. This guy here. So he was arrested on unrelated charges, and they found information or evidence linking him to the crime. Now, come to find out, his dad has been cooperating with investigators for some time now and says that he played a huge role in her disappearance. Well, after the arrest of this guy here, Brooks was arrested, and then following his arrest, Joey's father, Steve, recently was arrested. And I think soon to come will be Nick. Brooks's brother.
We are to find her alive unless she's run off somewhere. I mean, that's just a fact.
That's right.
That's just the facts as they are. I am not for you. I am not against you. I am not for her family or against her family. Right now, my job is to work for Crystal. Plain and simple. It's just that simple. If that means that I have to interrogate you, then that's what I have to do. You've been nothing but cooperative with me. I appreciate that. We've talked.
Thanks for hanging out, Sassy, and participating.
I don't know. I can't.
3 times. Here the first time, at your house the second time, and here the third time again, not counting the polygraph because I didn't ask you any questions then. You've not asked for a lawyer. You're right. That's your right to do. You're entitled to do that. If Nick thinks you should go and you want to take...
Okay, let's go to V. Marie's comment here. So it looks like a combination of the two. Nick was fired for violating the City of Bardstown Police Code of Conduct and failing the polygraph per Bardstown Police. So yeah, it looks like you guys were both right.
Advice, go ahead. It's fine. I'm not offended by that. My job is not to make you happy. My job is to find Crystal. If that makes you happy, awesome.
Yeah, you got it, City.
But make no mistake, my job is to find her. That's what I'm doing. If I offend people in the midst of that, well, I'll apologize later for offending people. If it finds her home safe, then I'll just take the blunt of offending people and go on. You know, just like what you said. What'd you say? Doesn't matter what they think of you, as long as we find her.
That's all right.
So that being said, you know, you're free to take Nick's advice if he wants you.
Squeaky says, I've always thought that Brooke and Nick were capable and arrogant enough to do both killings. I can't see them trusting their future and freedom to a couple of dullards that drink whiskey for breakfast. First time I saw Brooks, this interview here with Brooks, and then I went and checked out the interview with Nick, and we're going to watch both of his after this. I knew for a fact that they were guilty. Those investigators knew that they were guilty. It's written all over them. It's written in their body language. It's written in their tone of voice. It's written in the obvious rehearsal of it all. I mean, they really thought they were going to get away with it. But they didn't.
I don't really have any more questions with you. I was just going to tell you where we go next.
All right, yeah, we're wrapping up, and you tell me what we're doing next, and if it's over, it's maybe it's false alarm.
So, yeah, you know, here's what I'm looking at, right? I'm trying to find video of her car getting on the parkway, whether it's New Haven Road or 150, trying to find some video of her car getting on the parkway in hopes that it will reveal to us when it gets on the parkway, because there's some confusion about that. Some people calling in saying they saw it on Saturday. Some people calling in saying they saw it on Sunday
100% V.
Some people calling in
It's
saying
disgusting,
it wasn't
really.
Saturday or Sunday morning. That's just the nature of the beast. When you put information out there, you get a lot of it back. So I'm trying to figure out when it got on the parkway, and if I can, who was driving it when it got on the parkway. Maybe she was driving it, maybe she wasn't. Maybe somebody else was.
Apparently, it was Joey Lawson who was driving the vehicle, according to his father, Steve, who at this point cannot be trusted, and I think there's proof of that now. So I'm wondering if somebody's cooperating. I wonder who it is. Might be Brooks.
Driving it. I don't know. You know, maybe somebody stole it and it got a flat tire and they left it on the parkway. I have no idea. There's a million possibilities about how it got on there. So I'm trying to figure that out. I would like to fill in the gap.
So I could see Crystal saying, you know what, I'm leaving you. I'm taking our child with me. We can figure things out later, but I plan to leave you. You know, be out of here in 30 days. I don't think she was seeing anybody else because that person most definitely would have came forward. But I think she was getting ready to leave him, and he wasn't going to have it.
Gaps in your timeline. I may be able to do that with the video at your aunt and uncle's house, because they may be able to show me when you came and went from the farm on Saturday, those kind of things. I'm probably going to interview your mom. I'm probably going to interview Nick and ask them, you know, if they were with you anytime during that time.
Little
Maybe
Nicky.
they have a little better memory of it. They can fill in those gaps. I'm probably going to interview the employees that called you Friday and Saturday, Friday evening and then Saturday, to interview them and ask them, you know, when you called him, what did you talk about? How long did you talk? Mr. Stanley or whatever his name is. You know, did he answer the phone? Did you all talk on Saturday morning? If you did, what did you talk about? Did you go see him? Those kinds of things to help me fill in your timeline, which gives me a better idea of whether or not you're involved in her disappearance. And that's what I do. So
The
and
boss.
then once I've done as much as I feel like I can do, I'm going to move on to other things. I'll be honest. Beyond that, short of finding her somewhere, I've done about all the forensic countermeasures I can do. You know, we've gone through the car with a fine-tooth comb. We fingerprinted the car. We've gone through her purse. We're going to start going through bank records. You know, she did have an account. I know you told me you didn't know that she did or didn't. She did have an account of some sort. My understanding is maybe from a family member that there was some Social Security disability from Keith for the kids that maybe went into that account. Maybe that's the case. We'll kind of look into that. You know, we'll start questioning people about the validity of those kinds of things, about the apartment and those kind of things, and try to get a better idea if that's just a shady rumor or whatever, you know. But unfortunately, I've got to dispel all these rumors. You know, that's part of my job. We've got to either prove them, disprove them, or no, we can't do either. So that's where I'm at. So I appreciate you coming in. If I ask you to come in again, or if I come see you, again, know that you're always welcome to tell me you don't want to talk to me anymore. That's perfectly okay. All right?
Are you completely done with my phone?
Yes, sir.
All righty. Let's see here. Let's go directly into Nick's interview. This will be his first interview after, shortly after Brooks's interview. And remember, Nick had interviewed the interview with Brooks. You know, they had a pre-rehearsed call, make it, you know, trying to seem like it was all natural, trying to spoon feed information and kind of let it drip out of that call to control the narrative for investigators. They weren't buying it. These guys are horrible. You know, 100% these investigators knew. I just think the game was, how do we prove it?
All right. I don't know what you all talked about on the way over here, or
No, we just basically talked about that he was going to come over and talk to us, but
okay.
yeah, he liked the Caprice.
Did he?
It's actually John's car.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, little dirty. I need to get it and clean it, but it's been raining so blessed much that it's hard to do anything with it. So just want to make sure you understand you're not under arrest. Okay, I want to make sure that's.
Oh, I know that.
Right.
Yeah, I know that.
Okay, and it's my understanding that you testified at the grand jury this morning. Is that correct? Okay, and Mr. Gohagan had made mention of that you'd be willing to come in and, you know, under oath, whatever that.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with it.
Okay, so you're still fine doing that.
I think that's exactly what happened,
I
Squeaky.
guess let's just kind of start from the beginning. You don't know us, or I don't know you. You don't know me. So, let me get your full name.
Very bad actors.
Sorry, guys. Is it
Any other cell
Or
phones?
or Bluegrass. It's one or the other.
AT&T or Bluegrass?
I just changed it about maybe a month ago.
Okay. What's your date of birth?
12/18/1979.
You reside there at 99 Olympia Drive with anybody else?
My girlfriend,
What's her name?
Amber Bowman.
Do you know her date of birth right off?
She's born in '84. It's April the 11th.
Okay. All right. How long y'all live there?
We've only been there for 2 or 3 weeks.
Okay.
And we just, I don't know if it matters, we just moved from 104 Glenview Drive in Bardstown.
104 Glenwood, you said?
Glenview.
Glenview. Okay. I guess it's just kind of start from the beginning. You know what you're here to talk to us about, right?
Sure.
Check your stockings, guys. Return the Diamonds has gifted 1 Sleuth Intuition membership. Thank you, Diamonds.
Okay, what is that?
Yeah, Crystal Rogers.
Okay. How do you know Crystal Rogers?
She's my brother's girlfriend.
Okay. And how long have you known her? How long have they been? I'm assuming, did you know her before they started dating?
No, I didn't.
So how long have they been dating?
I'm 2 or 3 years maybe.
So 2 or 3 years?
Mm-hmm.
They have a child together, is that right?
Yes.
Okay, what's his name?
Eli.
How's Eli?
About 2.5.
I feel for Eli. Poor kid.
Okay, and do they reside together or they?
Yeah, they reside together.
Okay. What's their address?
113.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. Thank you, Lorraine, and welcome in. Lorraine says, and this is 100% true. I had the video. I didn't include it. I should have. The weapon used to kill Crystal's father has been connected to Nick Hewick's brother, who is Brooks. I'm sorry. Nick is Brooks' brother. Sorry. But yes, he sold it online. He used a fake name and they got it. The law enforcement, the investigators are the ones that purchased the firearm from him. And they were able to link it back to Nick, which is the older brother of Brooks. So yeah, that is a good point. So, and I think they have a lot more evidence than what they've released to the public.
Glenview.
So y'all live pretty close when you were at the old house.
Mm-hmm.
Your brother's name is Brooks, is that right?
Yeah, Brooks out.
Maybe V. He'd be smart, right, to make a deal. He would be smart. And he seemed a little jealous of his brother.
How much interaction did you have with Crystal over the years?
Almost none.
What's up, Tech?
Okay. I mean, did y'all, how often would you see your brother and her or just her? Or?
I mean, I passed her on the street. That's about it. You know, I mean, my brother's got a bunch of rental properties and stuff. And I mean, I just don't see, I see him on the road and that's about it. You know,
Okay.
He's so busy. We don't hang out much anymore.
Okay. And did y'all go to family functions together around Christmas and Thanksgiving? Or?
You know, if we've got time, we do. You know, I mean, I've got about a dozen rental properties and work full time with the PD and also got a family. And,
Sure.
you know, I mean, we're just busy guys.
Sure. I understand that completely. I think we can sympathize with that.
Definitely.
So in the 2 to 3 years they've been dating, how many times have you been around Crystal?
I've been at her this house, I don't know, maybe half a dozen times or so.
Oh, okay, Marie.
Could be more, could be less. I mean,
Let me know how to find that.
To put you into a specific number.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Sure.
What did you know about them? Their relationship. What did you know about their relationship?
I mean, they didn't really argue or anything in front of me. If that's what you're getting at. They seem pretty happy to me. So.
we all have, you know, I've got a brother, and if something's going on, he'll call him bitch. You know, he'll call, and you won't believe what this crazy woman did, or you won't believe this, or you won't believe that. I mean, did he ever give you anything like that?
No, well, he didn't complain to me.
Okay. So how often would you see your brother? I know you said you pass him on the street, and that's about it. But how many times a year would you see your brother?
You know, if I need a tool or something like that to borrow from him, I may see him, but, I mean, I couldn't really put a number on it.
Okay.
You know, I mean, I've been, you know, I've had the rental properties now for 4 or 5 years. I've got most of the tools I need, but every once in a while he does have something, you know, that I need, or vice versa.
So do you have a separate company established for your rental company?
Yes.
I know he's got a rental company property, is that correct? So are two completely separate
Yeah,
entities?
you don't do business with family.
Yeah.
Trust me, I understand that too.
You can just tell.
What's the name of your business?
It was House Properties, but it no longer exists. I dissolved it.
Okay.
Houck's Property.
2014.
So it's just kind of doing it on your own.
Yeah, I just decided I didn't need the LLC. I mean, just extra money for nothing the way I saw it. I mean, I'm not expecting to get sued or anything, so.
Sure. And your brother, what's the name of his business?
House Rentals.
Okay. How many rental properties do you think he's got?
I'm gonna guess between 80 and 100. And he builds full-time also.
Hey, Beth, I'm not sure.
So is he a framer, or is he
He's in everything.
everything? So he's your all-purpose man then?
He is.
What does he do something more than does he do one thing more than another? Like, does he frame more than anything else? Does he roof more than anything else?
I mean, he's just into all of it. I mean, he jumps right there and helps whoever's out there. I mean, obviously he has, you know, certain guys come in to do like the plumbing and electric stuff like
Sure.
that. They're licensed,
Sure.
but I mean, he's in there getting his hands dirty.
Okay. So is he building for himself for the rental company, or is he building?
No, he usually sells the houses that he builds.
Okay, so he's what do they call that?
Slumlord?
No, not a slumlord, but
Called his brother a slumlord.
built spec house. Yeah, spec house.
No, he's building houses $150,000 and up now.
Okay.
Custom homes.
So you said you seen it may be one, you know, just a handful of times a year. It could be more than that. It just depends on what your situation is. Okay. And did you in the times that you did see Crystal? I mean, did you ever have any conversation with her? Or?
No, I mean, I really,
What's going on,
I never
Moody?
had any issues with Crystal, but
Moody
I wasn't around her
Morgan.
that much. I mean, she seemed like a pretty easygoing person to me.
Okay. Do you know any of her family?
No, I don't.
What about your nephew? Do you spend time with him, or?
I wish I could say yes. I mean, no, I don't really see him much.
Okay. Well, now, didn't your brother run for sheriff, I guess, last election? How did he have time to run a campaign?
I don't have any idea what he was thinking or anything. I guess he thought he was really good at building. He had a lot of success there, and he thought he'd transition into the law enforcement, but I told him don't do it.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, how'd that turn out?
not good.
Yeah. Well, politics is, you know, policing is one thing, politics is another.
Exactly.
Rose Scheid, welcome. Do they know who shot her dad? Was he getting close to finding her? Yes, he was getting very close. He knew exactly who it was. He just needed to find some evidence to help investigators arrest these guys. He was obviously getting way too close. He was way too persistent. And apparently they felt they had to take him out. It was either them going to jail or his life. Yeah, he was just getting way too close. But it's obvious who killed him. It's obvious who killed Tommy Ballard.
I mean, why did he decide to run for sheriff? Did he ever say?
He never said. I guess he thought he could. I don't know if he planned on continue building and then also be sheriff. I don't know what he was thinking. But
Okay.
I tried to talk some sense into him, and I guess it went in one ear and out the other one. So
Gotcha. If you would have won sheriff, you think he'd made you as chief deputy?
I wouldn't work for him.
You wouldn't work for him?
I mean, I'm happy with the PD. No reason to leave.
How long have you been to PD?
I was with Lebanon for about a year and a half, and I think I've been here for about 8.5, 9, something like that.
Okay. Hey, what year did you come on in Lebanon?
2005.
Okay. Write that down. You said you was Lebanon for a year and a half?
Mm-hmm.
I know what you're talking about, Periwinkle. I'm just not too familiar with it. Sorry.
More money, better benefits.
Maybe somebody in the chat
I started out at
knows a little more about it.
And then it went to $15 an hour, whatever it was when I started here. So
Yeah. It's double your
yeah,
That's double your salary.
Mm-hmm.
And any trouble since you've been to PD with anybody? Everybody get along pretty good?
For the most part. I mean, obviously a bunch of officers with type A personalities. I mean, you're going to have a few conflicts. But
Sure. You never had any conflict with anybody specifically or anything like that? What shift are you working right now?
First shift.
How long have you been on that shift?
Just changed it not too long. We went to 12-hour shifts. It's probably been in the neighborhood of 4 to 6 months, maybe.
What were you on before that?
I was working 4 to 2 o'clock in the morning.
Who were the guys that you worked with on that shift?
Who were the guys on that shift? It was me. Jason Ellis was on that shift. See, Andrew was on third. Nathan Phillips, I believe, was on second. Michael Medley. I can't remember who else was on the shift. It seems like it runs together now. I've worked with all of them at some point or another. You know. But there was 5 or 6 of us on that shift, so.
When's the last time that you had seen Crystal?
I'm sure it was sometime I seen her just driving around out on the road, but I don't really remember where I was at or so.
So you knew her. You knew her enough to know her car, to know where
Hey,
her car
Loretta.
was.
Yeah, oh yeah.
What kind of car?
Let's see what Loretta's talking about here. They found all the evidence in Tommy's box. Sherry let them look when they did the documentary, The Disappearance of Crystal Rogers. Oh, really?
Drive.
I wonder what was in there. I wonder what he found. I'm sure he put something good, solid together.
She lived with your brother at the Glenview address.
I wonder if he got Joey or Steve to talk. Or something like that.
And was she way back when she saw you?
Oh yeah, she saw me. She, you know,
I mean,
she probably wouldn't recognize me in the truck, but if I was out in the cruiser, usually she'd see me.
So how often would you see her out on the road? I mean, was it obviously more often than you saw her in person? But
Probably
Thanks, Sensei.
maybe 2 or 3 times a week.
No worries.
So the last time you remember seeing her, she was in a car driving around.
That's what I'm assuming. I'm not 100%, but I'm almost for certain.
the last time that you actually were physically in the same room with her, when was that?
It's been a long time ago. I don't really remember.
Were we talking Christmas, Thanksgiving, before that, after that?
Could have been Christmas, Thanksgiving.
Okay. I mean, did she, what did she talk about anything specific, anybody in specific?
I don't remember that. I can't even remember what I did 2 days ago. You know, I really.
Okay. So you said your brother and her seemed happy?
For the most part, they did.
Thank you, V.
I mean, for the most part, you said, what about
Well, there's one example I can think of. I think there's been times when Brooke said that, I think sometimes she complained that, maybe he treated his son better than her kids or something like that, but that's about the only thing that really stands out.
But nothing that was seriously straining the relationship, just
Jason Ellis. Interesting.
Okay, so you said the last time you saw her was within the last
Probably within the last couple of weeks, maybe.
couple of weeks. Did she have a job?
I think at one time she worked up at the fast food mart on Bloomfield Road, but that's been some time ago.
Okay. Since then, I mean, do you know where she's working at, or does she have a job?
I'm not even sure.
Very suspicious.
Did
we'll have
she
to do
help
another. We'll
Brooks
do a
out
follow up on
the
Jason.
rental properties, or
I don't know anything about that.
and when you would get together, as just you and her and Brooks, or a bigger part of the family, where would you all get together at?
Yeah, I don't know that we ever really got together. I mean, obviously she's been over at Mom's house, and I've seen her out there, but I mean, that's been a while back.
Okay.
We really didn't get together.
Okay. Now,
Is your mom's house down, is it by y'all's family farm?
Mm-hmm. Pasco Ballard Road.
okay.
We're going to talk about the
I think we
farm.
went out there, or I went out there the other day. There's like a black barn kind of a thing.
It's called the Skid House.
Skid house, okay. Was there a sawmill in there one time? I saw the sawed cedar.
My grandfather, he did. He had a sawmill.
I saw the sawed cedar. I said, there's got to be a portable mill here somewhere.
Yeah.
So,
My grandfather, he died when I was like maybe 6 or 7. So I mean, it's been
a long time.
Yeah, that's been a long.
Yes, Moody Morgan. This person here, Nick, he got fired because he I don't know what the right word is, but when his brother was being interviewed, he called in, and they actually had this rehearsed, but he called into the interview and was kind of telling him he might want to leave or he should be careful, just kind of injecting himself into the situation. I think that goes against police policy. But not only that, he failed a polygraph. So I believe for those two reasons, they decided to part ways.
yeah, that had nothing to do with the case. I just my own person, because I love cedar.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Hey, what's up, Cody?
So you don't
Good to
remember
see
the
you.
last time that you had seen Crystal. How about when did you find out Crystal was missing? When do you remember finding out?
Yeah, within a couple of days.
okay.
How did you find out?
I don't know if I saw it.
I'm not sure, Beth.
Yeah, I really don't know. I mean, I don't know if Brooks had mentioned it or I saw it on TV. It was
Rhonda
all over Facebook
McElvoy.
and everything.
I'm going to write that down.
It's everywhere. It's on national news.
I mean, this is for all intents and purposes your sister-in-law,
Mm-hmm.
and she's missing. I mean, do you and your brother just not talk to that extent that
That's kind of bad, isn't it?
I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
But he never called you.
V says, I don't think Brooks was ever law enforcement. Yeah, that's correct. He was never law enforcement, but he was running for sheriff at one point, according to Nick here. Other than that, he was a business owner. He had like over 100 rental properties. And according to Nick here, he was very successful.
And told you she was missing, or
no.
nobody else in your family called and told you that she was missing?
Called and asked, had you seen her?
Yeah.
Was it unusual for her to take off like that? Or?
I know Brooks has said she's taken off to her, I think her mom's before, but I didn't know anything about that either. So.
I mean, I know when you get baby mama drama, you try to stay out of it. But I mean, you would think if he was really, concerned, that he would, hey, my brother's a police officer. He knows what to do. Let me call him and see what's going on.
Having a great day, Cody. Thanks.
It's not like that.
How's your day going?
So you don't know how you found out she was missing, whether it was from Facebook or TV or if he mentioned it.
No.
I mean,
I thought, I had several people that actually, talked to me about it. So, like I said, it's ran together at this point.
sure. I mean, has he talked to you about it a lot, or?
Very little, if any,
What's he said?
I don't know that he said much anything. I mean, obviously, I'm not really gonna bring it up to him because, I know him well. I know he's a good guy and that he wouldn't have anything to do with something like this. So,
Sure.
I'm not gonna sit there and question him about it,
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Mandy.
I just feel like I know for sure that he had nothing to do with her disappearance or whatever.
Lahu Zahur.
That's just where I'm at.
Sure. But I mean, you kind of see the flip side of that coin too, don't you? That if he's really concerned about her coming home, he might be talking, you know, man, we got to do something to find her. We got to do this. We got to do that.
Yeah.
But he's never mentioned anything like that to you. No. What's been the one thing he's mentioned to you the most during this whole thing?
Nothing stands out.
Nothing stands out. So she goes, and I'm kind of working third party here, so forgive me, and you may have a better idea on the timeline.
Oh, okay. This looks like a follow-up to what Beth was saying. Collateral damage. Welcome in, Collateral. The family is in trouble for taping the grand jury. That is where the sister is involved. Looks like that's piggybacking off of what Beth Gonzalez says here. Did an audio recording between Brooks and his sister lead to his arrest? Looks like it was sealed along with the FBI transcript. And then we had Beth, I believe that's the sister's name. And that was followed up by Collateral here. That's very interesting. The family is in trouble for taping the grand jury. That is where the sister is involved. I'm going to look into
Friday
that.
night the 3rd, I think, was the last time that anybody said they saw her, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where was that at? Do you know?
I think somebody said it was at Walmart.
Okay. So, obviously she gets reported missing on the 5th, is that right?
Yes. The Saturday. Or not, yeah.
She goes missing on
Sunday,
Friday.
Sunday.
Saturday's the 4th. Sunday's the 5th. Yeah.
Good to see you.
So that's when she gets reported missing.
Mm-hmm.
And he never called you for any advice on what to do.
No,
Okay. I mean, would that be unusual?
I don't think so.
Okay. When did he ever call you after he reported her missing?
Yeah, thanks, Collateral.
I'm sure at some point he's called. I mean, I don't really remember what he asked about, but
Okay.
Like, was that before? Do you remember when he was interviewed?
oh yeah,
When was that?
a few days after the fact. I mean,
Like a few days after what?
V says, Sleuth, I think I posted that article in the Discord a few months back. I have to go check it out.
a few days after everything came out, and the SO started interviewing.
Did you make a phone call to him when the
Olivia,
Yes,
what's
I did.
up?
Matter of fact, I think it was a couple phone calls, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Thanks,
And
Collateral.
you
You're
were kind
awesome
of
too.
little spat on the phone, or it seemed like that to
Yeah.
some people. What did you call
Well,
it?
just basically, I mean, Brooks is a really cooperative guy, and obviously at this point you want to be cooperative, but you also want to protect yourself. And I think at a time like this right here, I mean, obviously you wouldn't be thinking exactly straight.
Mm-hmm.
So I just wanted to make sure that he was kind of, protecting himself while that he cooperated with law enforcement. And
Mm-hmm.
so I didn't want him to, I mean, it's just easy to get things confused and stuff. And, so.
Well, I mean, you said yourself he's a cooperative guy,
Hey,
and
Jerry.
you trust him, and to know that he's not involved in this. Then what reservations would you have about him talking?
Well, for one, the guy that's interviewing him has openly admitted that he lies in court.
Okay.
So, I mean, that kind of bothered me a little bit that John was doing it, but, that's just the way it is, I mean.
You know what? We can't pick and choose what calls we get.
Most
so,
definitely.
yeah.
What do you think about your brother? He took a polygraph, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about the results of the
I
polygraph?
don't think they would have passed him no matter what, I mean, I think he went up there and did well, and I think that's just what they said, I mean.
Why would you say that it wouldn't matter?
Yeah, it just seems like it doesn't
So, yeah,
matter what
Brooks
he does
failed
or
his
says,
polygraph.
Everybody's kind of like pointing the finger at him. I mean, actually, that would be natural, but,
Sure.
I mean, it's just, at this point, it doesn't matter what he does, he looks like the bad one, so that's the reason why I feel like I do.
Well, and that's one of the things we did. We called and checked with our polygraphers because, I don't know what experience you've had with them.
None, I mean.
Thanks, Mir.
We use them all the time.
And I'd put them up against any of them in the country. I mean, they're that good.
Yeah.
And they work for the state police. They don't work for me. They don't work for you guys here. They don't work for the sheriff's department. They don't have any interest in these cases except to run the polygraph. That's all that their interest is.
But, just some feedback from them, and, it is what it is. It was inconclusive.
It's my moon. Loretta Sleuth. Anyway, that's my break. Over. Back to work. Take care and stay well. Thank you so much, Loretta. Have a great day. Thanks for stopping by.
Yeah. I don't know, I've never even heard of one being inconclusive like that.
It's either pass or fail.
But again, I don't know nothing about them, so really that doesn't surprise me.
Sure. Well, me and him both could.
Thanks, Sensei.
Can tell
You
we've
do a
learned
lot.
more about the polygraph in the
I
last
appreciate
4 or 5
that.
years than we ever thought we would.
So you talked to him on that day that he was having the interview, or you called him.
I think I called him once. I think the task force guys had his phone, and then at some point, I guess they gave him the phone back, and then I got hold of him. But he'd been up here several hours. You know, it wasn't like I just interrupted right from the very beginning. I thought, what the hell are they doing? You know, I mean, I'm asking the same questions over and over. What are these guys doing?
How did you know he had been up here for several hours?
I guess I think he called me.
Okay, so he called you before and said, "Hey, I'm going to the PD. I'm getting ready to get
Yeah, I
interviewed."
think,
And what did you tell him at that point?
I said, well, be cooperative, say what you mean and mean what you say, and just, do the best you can.
And what did you say to him after when you said he'd been here for a couple hours? What was?
I just asked him, I said, what the hell's going on up there? Are they asking the same questions over and over, trying to trip you up, or what's the deal? And he said he was given a detailed statement or whatever. I said, well, that's fine, just, at a time like this, things are spinning,
Such a liar.
You got
He's not even a good
when
liar.
you cooperate, just kind of.
Did you ever tell him to leave the interview?
No, I didn't tell him to leave the interview.
Did you ever tell him to seek legal counsel before talking to the police again?
No.
Thanks, V. I appreciate that.
So you didn't tell him you need to get out of there, or you don't trust these folks up here?
No, I said go ahead and finish your narrative, whatever it is, your written statement that you're giving them, but just just watch what you're doing. Be sure you're thinking clearly and cooperate and go along with it.
I mean, I guess the conundrum I'm kind of having in my own head, because like I said, we're coming at this from the outside. We
No,
don't
not
have
at all.
a vested interest.
And
in it.
he's
We're
the
really
worst
going together
liar.
because it's not our baby, but
He's worse than his brother,
if
which is
he's
bad because his
to the
brother
point that
was
you're
the
worried about
worst
taking
liar
straight,
I had ever seen up
don't you
until
think he
I
would be
ran into this person.
talking about it more to you or to your family members about, well, I wonder where she's at. I wonder what happened.
Yeah, I think people deal with problems different ways. I mean, I can't psychoanalyze it.
Sure.
But just different people handle things different.
And is this typically how he handles a stressful situation? I mean, you've been.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy. V. We did a true crime in the morning. I think it was episode 1 or 2, and we were covering Crystal's case. And like the very next day, there was a break in the case, and the same thing happened with was it James Burke in regards to the Long Island serial killer. It was like we covered him, and the very next day he was busted like soliciting in the park or something. It was really strange.
Others for 30-some years now, so.
Yeah, I mean, I really haven't ran across another situation like this,
Well,
I mean, I don't know anything compared to.
Well, I mean,
Yeah,
say
that's
for
the
example,
dumbest
he's
thing
got,
I've ever heard.
3 rental properties that need this, and this done, and he's got 2 houses he's got to get put up, or something's got to get done that week. How does he handle that stress? I mean, does he just go forward? Does it crumple up like a piece of paper?
Well, he's got 100,000. What do you think? He goes forward.
Yeah. Okay. And Katie barred the doors. We're getting this done. Is that pretty much how he? I'm not trying to put words in your mouth. Is that?
Yeah, I think he tries to do the best he can. If he can, he just goes on. I mean, obviously his stress level is going to be up, with all the rental properties and everything. But I mean,
Yeah, you'd be
he's been
surprised.
pretty successful. So.
Sure.
But I'm not right there walking along with him, so I can't really testify as to what he's actually doing from day to day.
Okay. So y'all have.
I
So
agree, Squeaky.
You've been out to the farm and do y'all go out there together to work or?
Oh,
do you
thanks, Jari.
I mean, he does his thing.
Jari says, Sleuth, I was so impressed with your last interview. And I was talking to Jeff, who I interviewed, Jeff Buziak, the father of Lindsay Buziak. And this is the case I was referring to when I was talking to him. I told him, you need to be careful because he's just as persistent as Tommy Ballard is, which is Crystal's father. And he ended up dying for this cause. He got too close. He knew what happened, and I think that led to his death. So I was telling Jeff Buziak, I said, "Man, you got to be careful." And this was the case I was trying to tell him about, and I wanted to kind of dive into, but I didn't want to distract the situation. But I did mention to him there was a case that we were covering where the father got too close. So if those of you were watching that interview from earlier today, this is the case that I was referring to, was Crystal Rogers.
I do mine. Okay. There's a big lake out there we fish at. We got 4-wheelers. You know, it's just a place to go to and relax. And
How many acres is it?
250 to 300 maybe.
Been in the family for a long time, or?
Yeah. Yeah, my grandfather, I don't know what year he bought it, but I mean, it would have had to have been probably 50s or 60s, something like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's been in the family
They
for
keep
a
catching
long
him in
time.
lies too, Lorraine. They've already
So
caught him
when-
in a bunch. They
I
just
mean,
don't
so you got
address
the-
it.
what, skid house,
They
is
kind of
what you call it?
pause
And
then just keep going.
Skids for a living, so
Okay.
that's what they stored them in.
Gotcha.
We just kind of adopted the name and.
Okay. I mean, do each of you have your own area out there, or is it all his? Is it all?
We all use it, but I mean, it's his place, you know,
Okay.
his and mom's.
But I mean, do you have like a
Is that the argument?
Is it just communal tools and tractors?
That sounds like
and
the
things like that,
Baldwin,
or do you have
Baldwin
like a,
Rosie
these
defense.
are Nick's tools, these are Roach's tools?
No,
these-
no.
Okay. I didn't know how, some people have like their own individual sections of things.
How come he owns it with your mom?
I don't know that he owns it with mom. I don't
You
know
say
if it's
he
in mom. I don't know if
says
it's. I thought it was in mom's name, but he's the one that bought. I don't even get into that, you know. I think it's in mom's name though.
So I mean, it's yours just as much as his, right?
But no, I mean, I think he paid for it. So I mean, really, it's in mom's name. He paid for it. It's kind of a messed up deal. But no,
So
I mean,
if it's been the family since the 50s, how would he have paid for it? Did he buy
he bought it.
extra?
There's 12 or 13 brothers and sisters,
Oh,
and they sold the farm, and he bought it.
okay.
Okay, so he bought out the rest of the family.
Yeah,
Okay.
he bought it.
Gotcha.
Okay, so when Grandpa passed, I guess, is that when that all happened, or was it before?
Oh
that?
no, Grandpa passed when I was like 5 or 6.
Okay.
Then my grandmother just died.
It's got to be a big chunk
5,
of
6,
change.
7 years ago.
Okay. So when she passed, then that's when
Yes.
he bought out the other brothers and
Mhm.
sisters.
So when was the last time, I guess, you and him were out there together?
We've been out there within the last couple weeks, you know. I mean, we run into each other out there, you know. I mean, he takes stuff out there. You know, he's got a pile of stuff out there that, you know, from his building sites, he'll pile it up out there instead of taking it to the landfill. And I guess where he's too tight to pay the landfill bill, you know. But we run into each other, but we're both so busy, we just kind of pass, you know.
Well, you said within the last couple of weeks, would it have been before or after Crystal went missing?
I've seen him out there after.
After?
Yeah.
Okay, do you specifically remember what day?
I don't.
Okay.
There's a camera out there. I mean, you know, it can be checked.
Okay. And do you drive your cruiser out there?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So it's not uncommon for you to drive it out there?
No, I use cruiser all the time. Chief wants to, you know, he wants us to use them off duty. That way it just kind of provides deterrence, and Chief loves that.
Yep. Be seen, there's police everywhere, I understand
Yeah.
that. Yeah. That's a kind of the same mentality we have from our commissioners. So, I mean,
Cindy, I'm not
when you drive
sure.
the cruiser out
Same
there, what are you
year.
going out there to do? Just hang out, or
Just ride the 4-wheelers, hike.
so you're not going out there to hook a trail or anything, but back your cruiser and talk back into town? All right. So you said within the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, one
and it
minute he
was-
knows
so
nothing,
we
and
could
then
say
I know a
last
little bit.
week. Today's the 15th, and she was last seen on the 3rd. So between the 3rd and the 15th.
Yeah, oh yeah.
You've been out there with him. I mean, did you go out there together? Did you meet him out there?
No, I didn't. He was just happened to be out there.
Okay. I mean, did you talk to your mom? Were you at her house? Did y'all go out fishing? Did y'all go out
Yeah,
check on cattle? What'd you do?
4-wheeler riding and cattle. I mean, I saw Mom. I don't really remember what we.
All right, now let's take a look. This is an interview with Nick after, so he comes back to take a polygraph. a few days after that interview. Let's take a look.
To review your charts on both tests. That first test, you did not pass the test, and it's pretty clear to me that you haven't told me the complete truth today. And the questions you're having a problem with are questions about Crystal. And you know where she is right now. And I treat police officers in these circumstances like I would myself, so we're not going to go through all the interview interrogation nonsense.
Thank you, V, for the
You and I are
super
on the same
sticker.
page. But again, I'm also
Shout out to Return the Diamonds and V Marie sponsoring today's live stream. Thank you,
I'm
guys.
wondering, do you know anything about
Appreciate
what happened? We're past that now. I mean, I got crystal clear with you. I give everybody a good, fair test. I'm no longer asking you if you know. You do.
I had the same question. Does anybody in the chat know? This is from Sensei Wackadoodle. The land where Crystal's father was shot, was that his land? Yeah. Does anybody know the answer to that question? I believe we covered that at one point, but it's slipping the mind right now.
Now, what you want to do with that is entirely up to you. I'm going to yell and scream at you and get the Sipowicz phone book and all that. I'm talking to you man to man as a fellow law enforcement officer.
Okay, so it was on that
The
farmland.
time has come for you to think real
Interesting.
hard about the rest
Thank you,
of your
Squeaky.
life. Okay? This is you. I'm not talking about Brooks or anybody else. And I'm telling you facts of life. I'm an old guy. I'm not trying to be a father figure here, but I'll
Thank you, Lorraine.
tell you, in doing this for 25 years.
Private land where he
the
was
way
killed.
This pans out. When the FBI gets involved,
That was
in this
Crystal's
investigation,
dad's hunting
I want you to listen to
land.
one thing. You don't have to say anything to me.
Oh, it's Crystal's dad's land.
As I said, you may
Okay.
never even be an FBI agent, right? But once you get on the radar, we don't go away unless there's a reason to. I thought there would be.
Thank you,
You
Hathers
didn't
Mayor,
pass this, and there's some other information there as well.
for the super
So I
sticker.
guarantee we're not going.
Appreciate that.
The FBI has unlimited resources in terms of forensic information, electronic information, many body.
He has this weird smug he has this smug look on his face. Like, it doesn't matter if I failed the polygraph. You're still gonna have to prove it. Well, there's a point during this interview where they say we need to find her body. And when we do find her body, which we will do, it's going to give us all the answers and it's going to fill in all the missing pieces that we need. And you're going to go to jail, is what he tells him. And then he kind of smiles. So you guys pay attention to that part, because to me, that tells me he knows exactly where that body is. And we may never, ever know where she is by the looks of that smirk on his face. And the way he responds to that comment by this agent here, I think they went to great lengths to hide her.
Just want to pour out here, do surveillance and look through everything that's ever gone on. We will find Crystal. I have zero doubt about that. It's a matter of when it's going to be and why. And inevitably, what's going to happen is one of a couple of things. We'll determine exactly if she's injured and dead, which she in likelihood is. You've come to that conclusion yourself.
Thank you, Whiskey.
The way that happened and the means in which it happened. Now, I know what your relationship is with your brother. It's a tight relationship, but in a unique kind of way. You have a little different relationship, and it's actually, again, not trying to make comparisons, similar to what mine and my brothers are. We're close, but in a very different way. And no doubt in my mind that you've spoken with him about what happened. You know essentially what happened. And whether or not it was something staged out and planned in terms of I'm going to make her go away, or if it was something that was, I hesitate to say an accident, but something that was not intended to do. My hunch is, I don't know, because I don't have the physical evidence in front of me to know, but 99% of the time of these, it's something that was not intended, a push, a shove, somebody trips, hits her, or whatever. Have no idea. We find her, we're going to know, no doubt about it. And we will. And at that point, they're no longer going to come and ask you what happened. They're no longer going to come and ask Brooks what happened. They're going to know what happened. And they're going to prosecute, assuming a worst case scenario, because everybody had an opportunity up front to say, whoa, time out. It's a horrible, horrible thing. I got scared.
Yeah,
Let me just tell you
V,
what
thanks for checking. I checked
Nobody's
too.
gonna
Thank
wanna
you,
hear
though.
that.
I appreciate that.
Because all your testimony in the grand jury,
Dumb
all
troll.
it is in the grand jury, the interviews that were recorded, where there are demonstrable lies about things that were said, that's all I'm put in front of a jury and or a judge. You know, you've been in the system. And people are going to look at it in the totality and say, well, now they're saying it was some kind of an accident or they didn't intend for it to happen. Why did they just say that last month, last year, 5 years ago, whenever it may be? And what's going to end up happening is people end up getting prosecuted and they look for the most significant sentences they can for people. And then people start cutting deals and who's going to get the reduced sentence and blah, you know how that all works. Point is, at that point, it's out of everybody's control. If we're going to get involved as the FBI and expend all these resources, then we're going to just assume the worst and go forward. If at this stage, however, and I'm just giving you the facts to lay out, these are not things, I have no doubt you've pondered this since the very first day this all occurred. Mm-hmm. But I want you to refresh it in your mind. You think about it however you want to. What everybody that I've talked to believes is this was something that was not a planned out murder for hire type thing or that nature. It was about a relationship and something that happened, flared up, like you were having domestics in your career plenty. And you know, people don't plan those out. Sometimes you see a pattern of behavior. It doesn't appear to be the case here. That's why I asked you about their relationship, and others have as well. Nobody's pointing to saying it's that kind of relationship. Again, I'm not going to lay out all the evidence that's sitting there right now, and there's plenty of it. And I don't know the additional evidence that's going to come out as this goes forward, because we're just getting started on an awful lot of things. But rest assured, it's all going to be laying on a table where you can now point and say, okay, this is it. And whether it be a circumstantial type of a case where it's just you put together the totality and it's so overwhelming that there is only one conclusion that a jury can draw. That's probably how this is going to work out. Unless somebody wants to step up and be a man and say, look, here's the deal. This is what happened, and make it better. And tell you, 25 years of doing this, it always works out for the best. And that's what happens. People aren't going to come. You know the deal. Once you've interviewed a lot of people in your career. I'm quite sure, more than a few, I would bet. You've been in law enforcement 11 and interviewed.
Yeah, they screwed up big time, Andy.
You know people, is my point.
Those guys are
And talking to those
idiots.
people, you pretty much know what happens. You've been around kids before. You know, if you ask them a question and they say something, you know it pretty much right away. Well, that's what I do kind of on steroids. And I mean, it's obvious. Looking at your interviews before, it was already obvious that you're not being truthful about something.
He's
To me, it was
posturing.
equally obvious that you're not somebody that had a major role in anything that happened as far as her disappearance and these. There could be some other issues and factors there. I don't know. That's my assessment. When we start talking
Hey,
about
caricature.
her, where she is right now, when somebody fails a polygraph,
Oh, he's going to break it
the
down for
reason
him.
that
Watch
is a
this.
test like this.
I love this part.
You saw that numbers test, right? When I had you write the number 5 and I had you tell me that you didn't write it, and it jumps off the screen that you're telling me the truth. Mm-hmm. There's areas right off of that list you did the exact same thing. And you know where they are. And what that is a guilty knowledge test. That's what I call it. And what that is your heart and your mind betraying what your body knows to be the truth. My master's degree is in forensic psychophysiology, which means the mind and the body interacting to determine truth in an interview setting. That's what I do. This is actually admissible in court.
Yeah, I don't think they were supposed to find her
because it's
car,
scientifically valid.
Mandy.
So when I say you know more than what you told me, I'm not guessing that. Okay. And when I tell you, polygraph, you didn't do well. I don't show people the chart. I don't show you. You probably don't care, but just so you know the facts. It's results on your test.
He's all, look at this.
100%. And then greater than 99. What's greater than 99? 100, right? What are the questions? Do you know where Crystal is right now? Are you hiding any information about what happened to Crystal?
Deceptive on both.
You didn't tell me the truth on both of those questions.
Gotcha, bitch.
So, I mean, I'm telling the truth. I'm not going to sit here and make up
Gotcha.
stuff and try to read techniques with you. We're past that. So the cat's out of the bag as far as your guilty knowledge. And again, I'm not going to play the games with you as the detective doing all the read stuff and everything else. I'm telling you, two individuals who know the way investigations work, what the facts are. And the time is now, today, to start fixing this problem. You know, we can talk all about Crystal and how we need to get her a proper burial and her family needs closure and her son needs closure, and all those things are true. But you know that. But you're a realist. You deal with them the today and the going forward. You even kind of said that basically in an interview the other day. People were concerned about why
Yeah, he
aren't
starts
you
arguing about the
acting
results.
differently with what's happened here. You know, his girlfriend, mother's child is missing, and he's happy-go-lucky essentially. Well, people react to things in different ways, and I get that.
Hey, look,
That's why I say your
it's the
relationship with
troll.
him is a little different than others. It's a close relationship, but it's different than others might perceive. I'm the same way. That's an introvert's way of dealing with things. Introvert doesn't mean shy. It means you deal with things from an internal locus.
Took
We
the
all
troll like
very much that way. So I get
6
that.
minutes to create a new account. That's a record.
But that's why I'm not going to go into all these things about getting her a proper burial in the family and getting her back so that her son can visit the grave and all that. We all know that to be true, and you've already thought about that. You're dealing with that internally. What you're dealing with going forward is you.
Cindy says, is that dude medicated? He hasn't moved. He did the same thing in his other interview. For some reason, people, I think they think it's smart to just sit there. You know, they're trying to control that deviation. If I just stand in one position, I'm not giving off any bad body language. You know, I'm inviting. And if I just don't move and deviate from this, you know, maybe I'll just look like I'm not guilty. But it's just too obvious with these guys.
And more importantly, your brother. Your role in this, I'm assuming, because I wasn't out there to see exactly what you did or didn't do.
Was nothing.
Well, I'm not even asking you.
Okay, we'll go ahead. I mean,
you did. I've already shown you, so I don't care. I'm not asking you if you did or didn't.
Okay,
You did.
okay.
And we both know that. It's for a lie. I'm not trying to be funny, but it's crystal clear, right? What happened here. Now, the details of who did what when. Can I tell you exactly? No, but I can demonstrably point out through forensic evidence already that things that you told us about where you were at various times are demonstrably not true. We can prove in front of.
Lorraine says a little similar to the Alex M case, in my opinion. Alex M. Not sure I'm familiar with that case.
Today, that you were places that you said you weren't. That's just one example. Again, I'm not asking you for, I'm telling you the facts of what happened. You believe whatever you want about what I'm telling you. But I get paid to be truthful with people. Right? I'm here, my whole point today, when I'm doing a polygraph examination, I'm working for you, I'm working for the person.
Hey, Rebecca. Rebecca says, but the investigator isn't giving him a break to talk. He's not. I've noticed that. He's like kind of mirroring his arrogance. He's giving him a dose of his own medicine. I've seen investigators pause suddenly, stumps them after all the long-winded stuff. That's called a strategic pause. That's used, you know, across the board, you know, sales, anything, debates, that strategic pause. It makes a lot of people uncomfortable, you know, especially if your mind starts to wander. You feel like you get twitchy. And if people are using a strategic pause, they'll just drop it on you. And, you know, and the room gets quiet. You're like, what the hell? You know, and you got certain personalities who can't stand that awkward silence. Well, that's pretty much everybody when they're guilty.
In that chair. This is about a quest for the truth. And we're much closer today to the truth than we were
Murdoch,
when we
yeah.
walked in that door.
Okay, yeah, you're right. It is
You
very
can deny,
similar.
deny, that's fine. That's what people do. It's will. That's what you've done at this point. And it's human nature. You know, when people are asked questions about a matter such as this, they immediately circle the wagons and start to, well, out of self-preservation, we all.
Man, let me just cut you off. I mean, do we need to?
Let me just cut you off, little Nicky. Squeaky says, I'm actually shocked that neither one of these guys lawyered up. They're too cocky. You know, we can go in there. It'll make us look guilty. We don't need a lawyer. But that's what they should have done. But, You know, the very thing that probably caused them to become killers and accessory to murder. It's the same thing that is telling them that they're going to get away with it and that they don't need an attorney. And, you know, it's that ego.
Take this any further.
I would like to take it to the truth. That's the whole reason we're here.
Is the test though? I mean, man, you're talking crazy.
Well,
I mean, you're talking crazy.
Was that
You
your
said-
rehearsed response to what was going to happen today? Because it's your.
Ooh, is that your rehearsed
I don't know what it
response?
sounds like. I'm just telling
Well,
you.
I'm telling you what it is.
You're talking crazy.
What's crazy about it? Explain to me.
The accusations you're making.
Yeah, I'm
I
saying
bet
you
you
were
know.
involved in this.
Absolutely not.
Oh, man, he's
Well,
calling him
You
out.
already told me that. That's why we did the polygraph, to find out. Well, now we both know.
I told you what now?
You told me before you had nothing to do with it. Right?
Yes.
Well, now we're past that because I've already shown that you did have something to do
I don't know what the
with it.
test.
I just showed you.
Okay,
I just showed it to you.
but I'm telling you, I did have.
And I'm telling you, you're lying. I mean, I can't make it any, I'm not trying to hurt your feelings, but I'm
Yeah.
just telling you the truth.
That's what I'm doing to you. I'm telling you the truth.
No, you're not. We're past that. I've already shown you.
I've taken the polygraph. Do you have anything else for me? Because I mean, I'm not going to sit here and we're not going to go back and forth like this.
You do whatever you want to do. I said I'm
I mean, I want to cooperate with you. I mean, I'm not
Well, then
here.
tell me what happened. Tell me what you know.
I don't know anything.
We're past that. You've already shown me that you do.
Damn.
I know nothing. I'm
And
sorry.
telling you, that's not true. It's not me. I just showed you. I don't even show people the results. I showed you yours.
Man,
And I even went the extra step for you.
He
to
just
find
looks
out, okay,
guilty.
well, let's try to nail down what you know more about. You know more about this? Who would know? Am I saying that you did it or you didn't? No, I'm just saying you know more than we did. Whether that's a simple conversation with your brother.
Sensei says, let's go to some of these comments here. Sensei says, laugh my ass off. He's trying to gaslight the investigator. I know. He's like, yeah, I'm just going to turn it on this guy, you know. And then V's like, oh, 5-head. I was calling him hair plugs earlier. No offense. The disposal is on the fritz, apparently, guys. We got trouble on the old home front.
Or whether you were physically involved out there. I can't tell you. Either one of those things would explain what I'm seeing. My hunch is it's something that your brother told you.
I don't know anything. He has not spoken with me about this.
Well,
He's my
I'm glad
brother.
you said that because he probably would know better than to say specific things. So it's a matter then perhaps of what you observed, what you saw other people say. I don't know. I wasn't there. All I'm telling you is objectively, that's what we do. You and I do. That badge on there is what? It's to protect society. That's what a shield is, right?
Yes.
That's what we do. And I'm protecting you just as I would anybody else. But at the end of the day, I'm protecting one thing, and that's the truth. And objectively looking at the facts, even if I were to take this out of the equation, why would somebody on numerous occasions in a formal interview under oath over there say something they know isn't true? Why would they do that?
What, you talking about me?
I'm talking about you.
Well, I mean, you think it would have had anything to do with being a little irritated about how things are going? I mean,
Well, that's why you would lie?
I didn't lie.
Well, I'm telling you, you did. I mean, I can show that already. This is not even.
Tell me about one of the lies.
Well, I can do that unless you're going to help me to understand the reasons behind it.
Dude,
I'm not going to lay out all the evidence that they do or don't have, but I can tell
I
you.
didn't ask you. I said, tell me about something I've lied about.
That's what we're talking about. In the grand jury, you said places that you were not. When I asked you specifically a moment ago about whether or not you were ever at certain places, and you told me no. Well, I already knew when I asked that question that wasn't true because I can place you there. Those are just examples.
Are you talking about the video out there in the driveway?
No, I'm not.
Okay, I don't know what you're talking about.
I know you don't.
But I can promise you that I have been 100% honest with you.
No, that's what everybody 100% on. That's just you take. What you
I'm
take.
I'm being 100%.
I'm 110% honest.
I'm being 100% honest with you. You know, this isn't really, 62%. I'm being 100% here.
That's not it. Look, there's either the truth or not the truth, right?
And that's what I gave you, the truth.
Well, but you didn't, and I've already shown that. I give you benefit of that before you come in. I'm assuming you're telling me the truth. Look, I treat people the way they treat me. You haven't been an ass with me, and I'm not going to be an ass with you. I'm not that kind of guy. But I'm laying out for you what I've seen here.
Fire the ball.
I can't argue with this. I've done over 2,000 of these. Trust me, when I told you I know what I'm doing, I know what I'm doing.
You must have slipped up today. I mean, I don't.
What do you think the chances are better that you slipped up and the truth snuck out here or that I slipped up?
I know you slipped up, but if you're telling me that I failed that test,
I told you in no certain terms you did fail that test.
Well, then
I showed you.
then it wasn't valid. I mean,
Absolutely valid.
well, listen, I'm telling you, I had nothing to do with it.
Okay, well, that's fine. And I'll tell you, I'll even give you that you had nothing to do with it. Okay?
I know
For
for
our
certain.
purposes here today.
I know for certain I had nothing to do with it, and I know nothing about it.
Well, that I won't give.
Well, I mean, that's
Because
just,
I've shown that. Look, one of the two things is true. Either you know something, and it could be something relatively insignificant that you haven't told me.
I don't know anything. Absolutely nothing.
Well, then why would you be less than candid with me, with the other interview, and in the grand jury?
There's a reason for that.
That's what I'm saying. Explain that.
I
to me.
agree, Rebecca.
I had nothing to do with this, and I don't know anything about it.
No.
You know, just irritation. I mean, that just kind of worked its way into this.
Okay.
You know, I've been 100% honest.
Okay. Well, that gets to, maybe that's it. Let me ask you that. All right. I'll give you that. When I ask you if you'd be less than candid, that means less than 100% truthful about things. You said you were irritated. Okay. Which I understand. I would be too. True. No doubt about it.
Okay.
Okay. Have I been accused of things in the past that I didn't do? Yeah. Have I been accused of things I did do? Absolutely. Okay. And I've been irritated when I got accused of things I did do because I got caught. And then I got to face up to the consequences. You talk about being irritated in there. Tell me some
He
of the
does.
things
He knows he's lying.
Again,
Now he can prove it.
I'm not rehashing all this. I'm just.
No.
I don't want to waste your time. I don't want to waste mine.
My time is not wasted. Listen, we're here talking.
Listen, I don't know nothing about this.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing at all, and I had nothing to do with it. I don't know anything.
Well,
if I had something to tell you, I would. She's got kids.
I'm aware of that.
Okay.
Why do you think we're here?
Okay, look, I don't know nothing.
Well, something you just
not
said.
Even something insignificant.
Clear that up for me. What you just, because I said, why would you be less than candid with me or the other interview in the grand jury? And you said, why would that? Because I was irritated. Okay.
But being irritated and being put in front of 12 people and accused of stuff like this, I mean, you know, you're going to forget things and not be able to speak as well as you normally would. I mean, there's more to it than you're saying.
Well, that's what I'm asking. That's exactly what I'm asking.
Some of those things you can't explain. I'm not going to sit here and try to explain.
Take your time to relax. Look, as I said, I'm sitting here. I'm here working for you.
No.
If there's stuff to explain it. I will take all day with you to fix it.
And it would take all day to go through all this. I mean,
brother, you're on the clock. You're getting paid.
If he had any brain cells, he would have
just explain to me what your main concerns are.
I'm not going there.
Why not? It makes no sense.
I'm not going there. Okay.
Well, it's not okay for me.
Well, I mean,
look what we're dealing with here. We're talking about the potential murder of an individual or an accidental death, right?
And if I knew anything, I would help you.
No, stop. We're going to.
I know where you're going with this, man.
Where am I going?
You're going to just bring all this stuff about Crystal, and you know you need to be, you know.
No,
go ahead.
I told you I wouldn't go this whole read technique stuff with you. Right?
Yeah, he's been talking since May
about explaining it to me so I can understand where you're coming from. You don't have to go through a whole life's history unless you want to. You said that you were irritated, and there's things that you don't know, man. That's what you said to me. Help me to understand what some of those things are that I don't understand. That would then make me understand the reason for this. There can be explanations, is my point.
Yeah, I mean, just this whole process, you know, starting from the chief and going down. I'm not going to do that.
But you said there's things
I know about. Be shown to him. He'll be irritated, and then he'll be watched. I'm not doing that. It's that simple. I mean,
what do you mean? I'm not understanding.
You ought to be following me, man. If you're sharp as, if you work for the, you ought to be following me. Okay?
Talk to me like I'm a kid then.
No, I'm not. Okay?
I'm giving you every opportunity.
And I'm telling you, no. Okay? I don't know anything about this.
Well, that's okay. That's not what I'm talking about. But you said there's things that
I'm not going into it.
Explain.
I'm not going into it. Okay?
Why not?
Because it's not worth going into.
I would think it'd be very worth going into.
It's not worth going into.
Why not?
Okay? I'm not talking about it, period.
Why not?
Because I'm choosing not to.
Okay, that's fine. But tell me face to face as a man, I'm not going to tell you the truth. That's all I'm asking.
That's not what I'm just saying.
That's what I'm hearing.
Well, then you need
Gotcha.
to rethink it.
Well, help me to rethink it.
Gotcha.
I'm not going. Listen to me. I'm not going into it. Okay. I mean, I'm here to cooperate with your polygraph and all that stuff. And you know, you can make any kind of notes you want. You can assume that I fail. It didn't bother me.
What is it you haven't told me this college?
Doesn't bother me. I got my hair plugs. We're
I'm
good.
not going into to everything that's happened. You know, I mean,
like what?
I don't have nothing to do with this. Guys showing up at my house.
Look, this is the first day you and I've met, right?
Yes.
Have I been anything but cordial with you?
And I think I've been the same way with you.
I'm not accusing you of not being.
Okay, there's nothing else to discuss here. Well, I mean, if I had something to give you, I would. I don't.
Put yourself in my seat for just a second, okay?
Okay.
And I'm talking to someone who's a family member, essentially, is missing and possibly dead. And you're sitting here, and that individual, who you know nothing about, never met before today, right? But you've seen some interviews where you haven't been completely truthful about things. Not just kind of, haven't been completely truthful about a couple of
I've
things.
been 100%
cold-blooded.
Listen to what I'm saying.
You listen to what I'm saying. I've been 100%
Why are
truthful.
you yelling at me?
Well, because you're telling me I'm lying and I know I'm not. I know the truth, you know? And I've been 100%
You know
honest
the truth.
with
You know?
you, the grand jury, and everybody else I've
No,
spoken
you
with.
haven't. Here's what I'm getting. We just said it.
Yes, I have.
No, you haven't.
I most definitely have. And if you don't want to believe it, that's your issue. It's not mine.
It's not just me. I showed you.
Dude, I don't give a goddamn what your fucking computer said. Okay?
I think you do.
I'm telling you that I have been 100% honest with you.
Is this how you act when you just act this way towards Crystal?
When somebody, is this how I act toward Crystal? I act toward people that accuse me of lying when I'm
Is this
not
the
lying.
anger?
That's how I act.
Liar?
No, I didn't know Crystal.
Then why are you getting so angry?
Because you're calling me a fucking liar.
No,
That's
I'm just
why.
calling you a liar. I'm
Okay?
not cussed you.
I don't like it when people call me a liar. I'm being 100% truthful with you.
There's only the truth and not what you
Dude,
said.
why can't you? I'm being truthful.
Look,
Okay.
we're not 2-year-olds, all right?
Okay.
So it's not, yes, I am, no, I'm not. Yes, I am, no, I'm not. We're talking, look, I've been nothing but professional with you and trying to help you in this
Okay.
situation.
Other than calling me a liar when I'm not.
Look, if the right thing to do is to tell you you're not being truthful, then I'm going to tell you.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay? Look, I don't care. Little lies, big lies, they're all the same in terms of the polygraph.
I haven't told you any lies.
Oh, yes,
That's
Cindy.
not entirely true.
It is 100%
Well,
true.
then help me to figure this out.
Okay.
What you just told me a moment ago, maybe explain it to me so that maybe I misunderstood what you're
Yeah,
telling me.
Alex
You told me
M, okay.
because you were irritated and there's all kinds of things that I don't know about whatever that I can't understand why you would say the things you said. That's what
Dude,
you
it's
told me.
just been an experience.
Well,
All this is going on.
but
You
that's
got
what I'm
guys showing
asking
up over at my house taking calls. I mean, this is crazy.
Okay, but that's what I'm asking about. Are we talking about because of things that have been going on since it's happened, or are you talking about there's things that have gone on over time that I'm not understanding?
No, I'm talking about recently
Okay,
involved.
well, how am I supposed to know that? If you don't
Yeah,
tell
I
me
mean,
that?
this is simple stuff, man. I mean, I have been 100% honest with you, and so God, you can understand
Yeah.
with people.
Good
showing up at
observation,
my house, my
Diamond.
family out there taking cars. The neighbors are watching. Man, it's been screwed up.
Of course I can understand.
Okay,
But I wasn't there. How do I know all this?
Well, man, you just assume. I mean, if you were a patrol officer and you got your chief showing up, and I mean, dude, that's crazy.
Look, I've been
Who the
nothing
hell-
but professional.
I mean, listen,
Listen.
they come up with all these lies about, well, there's bodily fluid in your car, there's blood. There is no way in hell there is any blood in that car.
I have no idea.
Everybody's told me that. You know, I did speak with the state police. That's the first thing they said.
Okay.
Grand jury. I mean, it's crazy.
But I'm not them, right?
Okay, but I'm just saying this is crazy.
It may be. All I'm saying, look, I'm not vouching for all this stuff. The evidence will speak for itself, right?
Sure.
So it really doesn't matter what people want to say or not. The evidence that I've told you about that I can demonstrate are things that we already do have back that I can show.
Mhm.
Again, I don't think they're anything that paint you in a horrible light. They show discrepancies with what you've said. Well, there may be a very clear reason for
And
that.
there is.
Well, that's all I'm saying. I'm not. Look, when I accuse you of lying over here, okay, and lies
First
are bad.
time I
Nobody
heard
wants to
that.
hear lies. We've all lied in our lives. I don't care who you are. I have, no doubt about it. We all have. Nobody wants to hear that. But somebody who's telling a lie, it's the same thing as saying they're not being completely truthful, right? Okay, that's a little prettier way of saying it,
Mhm.
but it's the same thing. I'm not saying you're so dishonest, you're so this and that. That's not what I'm saying.
Well, what I'm saying is today with you, I have been 100% honest, and I don't know nothing about it. That's what I'm saying.
Well, and I'm saying that that's not entirely true, but it could be.
I mean,
But listen to what I'm saying here, okay? You just want to get mad and defensive about it. Hear what I'm saying, okay?
go ahead.
Because I'm truthful.
You wanna get mad and defensive.
Person would fail a polygraph on the questions that I asked you on a spectrum of issues, whether it be, yeah, you were out there and watched
Oh,
her
it's so
get
obvious
shot and
to me.
killed by somebody. And again, I'm making that up, all right?
It's written
You
all
would fail
over
if
him.
that had happened and you told me you knew nothing about it, right? Obviously. On the far end of the spectrum.
And I called it
If there's
before his
something
brother was
you know
arrested.
about in your mind that you haven't told me or other investigators, could be about as simple as you saw an argument one time, and again, I'm making it up. You saw an argument between Brooks and Crystal a year ago where she pushed him.
They've never been physical with one another.
I'm making it up.
Okay.
What I'm talking about is the bigger picture is you would fail a polygraph on something that simple or something that dramatic.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter. It could be anything in between. I'm not assuming it's a worst case. In fact, I'm assuming it's something you just haven't got off your chest with me or someone else. That's all I'm saying. Is it a little more clear what I'm talking about?
It is, but there's nothing on my chest.
Well, but here's the thing, and I think that there is.
Okay.
And again, I'm not assuming.
Yeah,
that
just
it's
start hitting
something
him with the
huge
phone
and
book
dramatic.
already.
It may be. I can't tell you what this thing is going into your brain and telling you this is what you're seeing. That's not what I'm saying. All this does is tells me, do you, not me, do you feel you are being completely truthful or do you not? And it is telling me you do not feel you're being completely truthful. Well, that's okay. Your level of what's truthfulness may be a little different than mine. That's why I take the time to explain what I'm asking and why I'm asking it. Mm-hmm. So it's clear when I ask that question, you can confidently say yes or no. Well, obviously, with those two questions in particular, about Crystal and about whether you're hiding any information, there's something that you weren't confident enough to say with 100% certainty. There's some other thing, and it may be a personal family issue, for all I know, that you feel, and frankly, I think it's probably something along those lines, that you feel, well, man, if I tell them that, they're going to think that he's just evil or he did something terrible. I'm not going to think.
If anything stands up in my mind, I'll tell you.
Well, then looking back at, when you think about this investigation, and not from other investigators else, the investigation and what happened to Crystal and how that's affecting your brother and his child. With all this, when you sit at home at night and laying in bed and you think about what's your biggest concern in looking back? Because we all do. We all are analytical in law enforcement. We think about everything that's ever happened, right? And you start assessing this. You may not discuss it with everybody else. I get that. People handle emotions in different ways, especially in traumatic circumstances. Mm-hmm. I know I do. I'm an internal person. But I guarantee you that means I think about it inside more than I'm talking about it to other people. What I'm saying is, when you're sitting there at night, you're thinking about it. Maybe you talked to Brooks, but maybe you didn't. What is it? Where's your mind focus on something that you look back at and go, man, maybe that's something that I should have talked to Brooks about, or maybe that's something that might have had something to do with it. Where do you focus? These are just suspicions in your mind, right? But what do you think about? That's what cops do. That's what we do. Where does your mind land at when you think about those?
I don't know. I mean, I didn't know Crystal. I don't really know my neighbor. I know that's sad.
I get it.
I mean, I just wasn't around them. I never really saw them argue anything. If they did it away from me. I don't.
Well, no, that's fine. And if they did argue in front of you, I don't care. Mm-hmm. I mean, people argue. So what? My point is, if there's things, anyone along that nature, mm-hmm. or even a comment that Brooks has made before or after she went missing, that may cause you some pause in your mind, that may be enough potentially to cause you to have an issue on the polygraph. It's just, I can't put words, I don't know what you know. I only know, do you believe you're being truthful? And you don't feel you're being 100% truthful, as you said. Maybe you're being 99 now, I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, if I did, I'd tell you. I don't know what else to tell you. I mean, I can't just make something up, and throw it at you. I mean,
what I ask you to. That's why I'm asking you just to tell me the truth and what you, see, the way it's working suspicions don't do anything. Wondering, thinking, oh gosh, I don't know, what could it be that?
Yeah, somebody's going to have to come forward and tell them where she
is.
is.
You do your physiological signature of somebody who's thinking about this specific thing, mm-hmm. which means in your mind, and again, I have no idea what that thing is. Could be something horrible. It could be something very explainable. But only you know what that is. And that's what I'm getting at, is trying to get you to just say, this is the thing that I was thinking about, I had some concerns about. And at that point, I'm going to, okay, well, that probably explains what I'm seeing here. And again, it's not going to be a big deal. It's what we do. When people initially say, I don't know nothing about nothing, and it turns out as they're sitting later tonight, they go, okay, I do know a little bit about something, but it's probably not important. But I've told you I don't know anything, so if I tell you this, you're going to think I'm lying to you. That's not the case.
Man, nothing stands out. I mean, I wish I could come up with something, but I can't. I mean, that's just the way it is. I mean, I've been 100% truthful with you. I mean, I can't think of any examples. They never gotten, I don't think Brooks would have ever got physical with her. I really didn't see them argue. I mean, I ain't got nothing to give you.
Well, and I'm glad to say it, because everything from what little I've talked to people about Brooks in particular, mm-hmm. about you too, there's not a history of violence and that kind of stuff. Been no domestic accusations, nothing like that. Which means that whatever happened here was likely, I hesitate to use the word accident, but it was, I say, unintended, because people can get pushed and shoved, and I don't know. I haven't even seen her. How big is she? She's not real big, is she?
100 and, I don't know, maybe 150 pounds or something.
Yeah,
160.
to me, that's big, but he's bigger than she is.
Yeah.
And men being men, women, they get hot-headed and they started pushing and shoving and screaming and throwing tantrums and all that stuff. Not all, I hate to throw a blanket, but a lot do. And all I'm saying is in those situations, if it's a situation where she got mad and she pushed or shoved and the defendant's not going to hit a woman, it could be as simple as in the course of that, she fell and hit her head on something. For all I know. Again, I'm making up, I don't know. But in those circumstances, that's a real easy answer to what's occurred here. Again, we're going to find it. We're going to know exactly what happened.
Sure, no doubt.
But the time to hear about those things, what actually happened out there, is before we get to that.
I wish I could lead you there, but I can't. I've got nothing for you.
Okay.
I don't know where she's at. We didn't have nothing to do with it. I'm telling you, that's the way it is. I mean, I don't know, if you watch the grand jury testimony or my interview with the state police, I mean, sometimes I don't speak well. Like a lot of times when I go to court, I've got my report in front of me. I read word for word. I just don't remember all that stuff. And then you put 12 people in front of me, and they start asking you a bunch of silly questions.
Yeah,
I mean, stuff just blanks out. I mean, I don't respond well to that.
I get that. I don't like speaking in front of groups, period. Even 12 people in jury. I hate testifying.
Mm-hmm.
It's what we got to do. But I'm also a student of people. That's what my master's degree is. So when I watch the interviews, I don't just listen, but I listen to what's being said, how it's being said, statement analysis, kinesics, physiology, what people are doing in the room. And you could turn off the sound in some of those interviews and see spots where an objective interviewer would point and go, "You're not being completely truthful right there."
He's calling out his body
Well, I
language.
did leave the
That's
sound
exactly
on,
what
so
I
listened
said.
to some of those spots. Again, I don't think they're huge critical issues, and it may be as simple as what you said earlier, that because of irritation and accusations, you just decided you're not going to tell people about whatever, fill in the blank.
Well, it's not that I didn't tell them. It's just that, a lot of that stuff I didn't remember, and I'm not going to start making stuff up or tweak it in any way.
Yeah.
I'll just straight up tell you, I don't remember. If I don't, I'm not going to make something up.
Absolutely, I get that. And I'm not, I wouldn't want you to say something that you didn't know. I mean, if you do that, you're lying by definition.
Yeah.
But the other side of that is, we all look politicians. Hillary Clinton is a prime example, right? And I'm older than you, but looking back in the Whitewater days, way back when she was interviewed, her husband was interviewed. So we use those as studies and interviewing. And what do they say more often than any other? What's the phrase they use?
I don't know. I'm not up to date.
That's actually what they say, but they say I don't recall.
Oh, I see.
And when it's clear that they do. And so, and I'm not saying that's not the case with you, but when you hear I don't recall, it tends to raise flags with people that are investigatively asking questions, right? The truth may be you don't recall, but that's certainly a viable option. But when you couple those statements with all the other things going on in the room, and then when in some of those instances, not all, but there were a few, where we can physically say, well, no, but you just said, when you didn't say I don't recall, you said I was here or I was not there. And they asked you several times, were you ever there? You said no. And we can show, well, yeah, here's the evidence that shows you were there.
If you're talking about the vehicles in the driveway, then they harped on that and harped on
I'm not
it.
talking about
I mean, they must have asked that question 10 times. I mean,
I'm not
we may have been, I don't know.
That's not what I'm talking
Okay.
about. Yeah, as far as that, I think at the end of the day, you were, you changed your answers up somewhat to be as truthful as I think you could be. When you said, no, I don't think we were there, and so I don't think, and ultimately we have, and we could have been, well, we can show whether you were or weren't there. I mean, that's simple. So whether you recall or not, you were. So I don't care. But what I'm talking about are other times that I haven't
Thank you, Metal Mama.
given you the evidence on here today. I've asked you questions about.
Yeah, I think we're going to cut this interview here short. There's a couple other clips I want to show you guys. But I want to give a quick shout out to Metal Mama Michelle for sponsoring today's live stream, along with Return the Diamonds, V. Marie, and Hather's Mirror. Thank you guys for supporting my channel. I appreciate it. All right. This one is about, talks a little bit about the farm.
About this property because, like I said, searches have happened here before. So here is exactly what we know about this property. The 245-acre farm is located on Pascal Ballard Lane. That's right near the intersection of Loretta Road and Bardstown Road. It's about 9 miles south of downtown Bardstown. Rosemary Hauk, Brooke Hauk's mom, actually owns the property. Again, it's the last place Crystal Rogers is known to be alive. That's according to police. And it is not the first time investigators have searched here. Our records reveal the family farm has been searched at least 3 other times in the last 7 years. Within days of Crystal Rogers' family reporting her missing, police were at the boyfriend's family farm, closing down Pascal Ballard Lane with police cruisers. This video from July 10th, 2015 is the first time we know investigators were on the property. Family told us they watched law enforcement spend about 4 hours on the farm.
They would have something. I mean, you gotta have probable cause. So hopefully.
Yep, there's Tommy. That's Crystal's father who was murdered. Most likely by the same folks that killed Crystal. God rest his soul.
They found something and they're looking for more.
After this search, Tommy Ballard, Crystal's father, asked the Hauk family for access to the farm. He said he wanted to search the farm with cadaver dogs, but he said the Hauks told him no. Fast forward 14 months, investigators were back on the Hauk property, this time with a search warrant and lots of extra hands.
So this property is the last property that she was seen at, as far as we've been told.
In total, 18 cadaver dogs, the LMPD dive team, and more than 24 investigators took part in this search. It lasted 2 days. Detectives told our crew they found items of interest and they towed those items away.
I'm hopeful. I think we're moving in the right direction.
Former lead detective on the case, John Snow, told us he believed a crime happened on the property. That was a belief shared by Crystal's family.
I mean, I felt that the whole time, whether they find something on the farm or they don't, I still feel like that's where it happened.
FBI was on scene for this search more than 6 years ago, helping local investigators comb through hundreds of acres of farmland. It was 4 years before the federal agency took the lead on the case. And that would be the next time we saw law enforcement on the farm. Video from Sky 11 showing us the work underway, August of 2020. On this day, more than 150 state and federal agents served more than 9 federal search warrants on multiple properties, including the farm.
We want to get it right. We want to ensure that that our part in this investigation, that we are doing everything we can to solve the case.
And 2 years later, renewed focus on the farm, seemingly the next step to find answers and take this case to court.
Breaking news, a major arrest in the Crystal Rogers case. It's been 8 years since she disappeared. The FBI and Kentucky State Police have arrested Brooks Hauk, Crystal Rogers' former boyfriend and main suspect in the case. Just hours ago, we learned Brooks Hauk is charged with murder and tampering with physical evidence in the death of Rogers. Our Focus investigator, Shane McAllister, has been a leader in following this case since day one. She is now live in Bardstown with the latest. Shay, what can you tell us?
Hey, Brooke, well, let me put this into perspective. When you wonder if anybody here cares about this arrest, since we got here about an hour ago, I have talked to no fewer than 5 different people who have come here just hoping to learn some information, not family members, no one connected, just Bardstown community members asking, is it true? Was Brooks Hauk arrested today? And of course, we tell them, yes, we have the court documents right here spelling out exactly what he's charged with. Something that really stands out on these court documents, Crystal Rogers' name is on here. So these aren't just charges that could be related to anything. We know Brooks Hauk has been charged with the murder of Crystal Rogers. We know it is in connection to incidents from 4th of July weekend 2015, which of course is when Crystal was first reported missing. I have spoken to members of the Ballard family today. They tell me they're absolutely in shock. Of course, this is something that they have been waiting for. The Ballard family has been very outspoken in their belief that Brooks Hauk was responsible for the disappearance of Crystal Rogers. But today, actually hearing the news is certainly weighing heavy on them. They tell me they are in shock. They are happy, but they're processing this. And then there's another side of the story that I'm getting tons of questions about, and I want to update you on. And that is the custody of Crystal's youngest son, Eli. Brooks Houck and Crystal Rogers had a child together just few years before she went missing. He was not even 2 years old yet.
Eli.
At that time, when she went missing, Brooks was sharing custody with Sherry Ballard. That didn't last long because Brooks started filing motions in the court saying that Sherry was changing the way his son felt about him, that they were telling him lies. And eventually a judge took away visitation from Sherry Ballard. It was something very difficult for her. We talked about it many years ago. Well, today I talked to the clerk about what could be happening with that little boy right now. The clerk told me that in theory, Sherry could file an emergency custody petition. A judge could grant it today, and Sherry could get custody of that little boy by the end of the day. Of course, family court proceedings are private. That is something that the Ballard family will have to share with me later. We are planning to talk to them here very soon to get an update on that. But it is a very, very busy day down here in Bardstown. The next big development is going to come next week, Brooke. That's when we're expecting Brooks Houck to be in court, charged with the murder of Crystal Rogers. We'll send it back to you.
Shay, thank you. And again, always on top of this case since day one. Let's take a look at the timeline of events since Crystal's disappearance. She was last seen alive on July 3rd of 2015. And at the time, the Nelson County Sheriff's Office was handling the case. Brooks Houck told police the couple had fed cows at their family farm and then went home together. That's when he said the next morning she was gone. 4 months later, the sheriff at the time announced Crystal was presumed dead and declared Houck the main suspect. The FBI took over Crystal's case 5 years after that. They'd spend the next 2 years searching several properties from the home of Brooks' brother, former Bardstown police officer Nick Houck, to the family farm multiple times. And that brings us to June 21st of this year, when a grand jury indicted 32-year-old Joseph Lawson on 2 charges: conspiracy to commit murder and tampering with physical evidence. His attorney confirmed it was in connection to Crystal's case. And finally, today, the arrest of Brooks Houck as of this morning, again in jail on $10 million cash bond.
Okay, so we're going to start wrapping it up here. Just want to make sure we're getting all of the information surrounding this case and everything that has unfolded here recently. I think we can finish with, let me see how long this one is. I only have 2 left. Let's just play them both.
Good evening, I'm Megan Mannering.
And I'm Larry Smith. Glad you're with us.
A major development in the Crystal Rogers case. A third man has been indicted on charges connected to her disappearance and murder.
He's the father of a man already charged in the investigation. LEX 18's Lee Searcy has been looking into Stephen Lawson for a while now and has more in tonight's big story at 6.
53-year-old Stephen Lawson was arrested in Indiana, charged with criminal conspiracy to commit murder and tampering with evidence. Like his son Joseph, who was charged in September with the same offenses, an indictment shows the elder Lawson agreed to aid one or more persons in the planning or commission of the death of another, and then destroyed, mutilated, concealed, removed, or altered physical evidence on July 3rd or 4th when Crystal Rogers vanished. If Stephen Lawson's name sounds familiar, here's why.
Hey, Steve.
Lawson's name came up during the first police interview with Crystal's boyfriend, Brooks Houck, days after she disappeared. He's also charged with murder and tampering.
Who is Steve Lawson? He's somebody that works for me.
Police wanted to know why Lawson made a late-night call to Houck the night Rogers disappeared. So during the interrogation, Houck called him, and Lawson said the two talked about rental property that Crystal managed.
I forgot. What did I tell you?
You told me that you would call, what's her name, Katie or whatever, she handles all
What
that.
did I tell
Crystal.
you to tell me?
Crystal, okay, I apologize.
Yeah.
And she said she handles all that and that you would get back with me.
During that July 15 call, Houck indicated that Rogers was with him at the time. But Steve Lawson can be heard recalling that Houck had said he'd call her about something, which didn't make sense to the detective.
Okay. So that begs a question in my mind.
All right.
If she's in the truck next to you when he called, why would you need to call her about getting numbers for rental property?
Because being that
Gotcha.
late at night, we're headed to the house. You know, I just wouldn't. She normally is not going to deal with stuff that late.
So now, with this latest arrest of Steve Lawson, there are 3 people charged in connection to Crystal Rogers' death and disappearance.
Her family has said all along they want justice and more than anything, want to find Crystal. Lee Searcy, LEX 18 News.
All right, this is the last one I have for you guys. This is the most recent.
This year, earlier. What has the investigation looked like as far as you can tell?
Looked like they were trying to find evidence, and they hadn't found.
Has the
Oh, I accidentally opened two. Sorry about that.
This year, earlier.
What has the investigation looked like as far as you can tell?
Looked like they were trying to find evidence, and they hadn't found it yet, and they weren't satisfied. The Commonwealth wasn't satisfied with respect to what they had. They were looking for more.
What do you think they have on him?
I don't know if they have any more than I've told you, but they apparently they chose to indict him rather than give him the immunity that he was promised.
Oh, so he had been in discussions with them.
He has, and I have.
Regarding some sort of deal?
Immunity.
To say what he knows.
What's known as transactional immunity.
About how many times do you think police have been in touch with Stephen?
Over a dozen.
Just this year?
Many more than a dozen.
From your understanding, was Stephen Lawson involved in the death of Crystal Rogers?
No, he was not.
What do you think his connection is to this case?
He was an employee, part-time employee of Houck, and he had an association with Houck. Mr. Houck has had conversations with him about Crystal, and that's the extent of my client's involvement.
And what about that phone call? Police have released it as that it was from the interrogation room.
That's correct.
What do you make of that phone call?
It was a set-up phone call. One was supposed to call the other, and the ring came in, and they spoke.
And what about Steve's son?
Steve's son, I'm not sure about the evidence that they have against Steve's son. I know that he's extremely involved.
Do you think that Brooks Houck paid Joseph Lawson to help in the murder
The
of
$1 million
Crystal Rogers?
question.
I think the Commonwealth has been trying to establish that a payment was made. As to who that payment was made to and when it was made, I'm not privy to that information yet.
What about the vehicle in this case?
Vehicle was the maroon vehicle that was parked out on mile marker 14 on the Bluegrass Parkway heading west. It was driven out there by Joey Lawson. He had a flat tire.
I think he was
at that mile
thinking
marker, and
how not to violate the law.
Received a phone call, went out there and got him, brought him back.
So Steve has told you that he went and picked up Joey from the Bluegrass Parkway where he had driven Crystal's car.
He told the state police that, told FBI that, told the Commonwealth's attorney that from Hardin County, who's in charge of the investigation.
Any other important details that you believe prove your client's innocence?
Other than his assertion that I did not hurt Crystal and was not involved in hurting Crystal. I didn't plan to hurt Crystal. I didn't conspire to hurt Crystal. Those are his statements. And that's what he has told the Kentucky State Police, and the FBI, and the Commonwealth's attorney time after time after time in this year.
What do you anticipate will happen in court next week? At Brooks Houck's arraignment, there was a lot of bombshells dropped. Do you think we'll hear something similar?
I do. And as we move on, the Commonwealth's ready to move on after all these 8.5 years. I would say that we're going to hear some things in court that we haven't heard before.
All right, guys, that's all the time I have tonight. I appreciate you guys hanging out while we went through all that information. Shout out to everybody who sponsored today's live stream. That goes out to Return the Diamonds, V. Marie, Hey, there's Mirror, and Metal Mama Michelle. So thank you all who participated in the live stream chat. Shout out to you guys as well. And if you are part of the replay crew, leave a comment and let us know what you think about today's live stream and the recent developments here. All right, guys, you take it easy. Members, tomorrow we'll get together publicly on the channel with the Sleuth Crew check-in, and we'll kind of bounce from there into the members meeting. So that will be at some point tomorrow. Keep a lookout for the notification. I'll see you then. Peace.